Ciao, and welcome to my little chat on the theme of identity, which is this month's theme as part of the Change School's second global summit, focused on third culture kids and the overarching theme of global citizenship and what it means to be a global citizen. So first of all, I just wanted to thank the two fantastic founders of the Change School, Grace and Salonia, for having invited me to contribute this little chat and my experiences as a third culture kid to the summit, for which I'm very humbled and honored. So big thank you to both of you. I hope this 10-minute ramble will provide some food for thought and perhaps some inspiration to those who are watching. So before we go on, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Rossella, and I'm actually speaking to you from a little rock in the middle of the Mediterranean called Malta. It's actually one of my homes. I'm in fact half Maltese and half Italian. I was born in Italy, and when I was around 4 years old, my family moved out to Singapore. And we lived in Singapore for a total of 20 years. I was there personally for about 14 years, and I frequented some fantastic international schools out there, but it was just an awesome opportunity and experience as I met people from all over the world and from different religions and different backgrounds and different cultures. So one could say I was sort of third culture kid from the word go. So as I said, I was raised in Singapore. And then at the age of 18, I moved across to London, where I completed a law degree in London at the University College of London. And then I went on to complete a master's at LSE. And so I was in London for a total of about 6 years. And then sort of in between my degree, I was in Florence for a year as part of my studies in Italy. And then I moved on to Milan, where I worked in the legal field for several years. Most recently as part of Dame Vivienne Westwood's team of legal advisors in Milan. I had a fantastic time working as part of the Vivienne Westwood team, and I was there for up until around the end of 2013, early 2014. After which I decided that I was going to do something completely different, and so I decided to quit my job and moved out to Bali in Indonesia, where I lived for a total of about 6 months, and I collaborated with a fantastic school called the Green School, and I was there for a total of 6 months, working as part of their primary school art department. And then basically after I completed that fantastic experience, I moved back to Malta, where I helped, where my family was starting to launch a very distinct and unique project in the hospitality sector. So I've moved back and to help the family run the business. In the meantime, I've also set up my own little project, this online retail project called Sofia Capri, which is specialized in the creation of artisanal sandals handmade on the island of Capri in Italy. And I did that with one of my former Vivienne Westwood colleagues who was formerly based in Paris. Anyway, so that's where we met, and so I've been running that as well. I'm also extremely passionate about education and empowering young minds to make conscious decisions about their life at a very sort of young age, and exposing them to different cultures, to different ideologies, to prepare them for life as conscious young adults. So I'm also involved heavily in various educational projects, specifically connected to third culture kids, with this fantastic organization called Sea Change Mentoring, which is run by another third culture kid called Ellen. And basically I mentor third culture young adults as they transition into sort of adulthood. And I'm also on the United World College National Committee as part of my sort of educational consultancy. So that was just a very brief outline as to my life in general and my story so far. So I'm talking to you about identity. I'm going to have this little chat about identity because I strongly believe that identity is fundamental in cultivating positive relationships with the outside world. Because the stronger a sense of identity one has, and the better one knows oneself, the better relationships one can cultivate, not just with sort of people close to home, but with the outside world in general. So, for example, I found out that I was a third culture kid quite recently, in fact, just perhaps 5 or 6 years ago. And when I did find out, that there were specific characteristics that grouped individuals like me, and they've got a specific term such as third culture kid, it was as if, a big piece of my identity's jigsaw puzzle had suddenly clicked into place. And when that happened, I not only became a little more confident about who I am as an individual, and how, why it is that I am a third culture kid, but more importantly, how my identity affects the relationships with others, and more importantly, how I can share the skills that I've got that are unique to third culture kids, the positive skills and experiences that I've got as a third culture kid, with non-third culture kids. Because it's all great when you meet another third culture kid and you're speaking the same language, but I think the greatest potential for positive change and for positive growth comes when third culture kids engage with non-third culture kids, and share their experiences and their skills, to cultivate a global citizen mindset. But what does that mean? It means that, I believe a global citizen mindset can be cultivated by even someone who's just lived in one country for their whole of their entire life. As third culture kids, having a global citizen mindset is very easy for us because, we've been forced, so to speak, from a very young age to live in a country that's different to our passport nationality, and have had to engage with people from different cultures and different backgrounds from very, very early on. Whereas, someone who's just lived in one specific country, it's not as automatic. But having said that, because I believe a global citizen mindset is essentially not just the ability to adapt to different environments, but it's really about having an open mind and cultivating an inquisitive spirit. And this can be this can be a mindset that can be adopted by someone who's lived in one country, as I said, or in many, many different countries. And as a third culture kid, it's because it comes a lot easier to third culture kids to take on this global citizen mindset. It's fundamental that in our interactions with non-third culture kids, that we encourage and we demonstrate the positivity that comes with having an open mind and an inquisitive spirit, and sort of not digging one's heels into one's beliefs and staying fixed in one spot, because that then keeping this flexible perspective ultimately has an effect upon your identity, and identity is something which changes over time, and which I've found out things about myself that I didn't know were part of my identity as I've grown older. So identity is a very flexible, a very fluctuating concept, although having said that, there are distinct pillars which remain the same throughout our life. So for example, I will be forever a third culture kid, no matter what my age is. So the importance of identity dovetailed into the concept of a global citizen is really the empowerment, the empowering effect that knowing one's identity has upon cultivating these positive relationships with the outside world. Obviously, I mean, I've already spoken about myself for a lot, so it's, you know sort of where I come from and what I've been through. So it's quite automatic for me to say that I've got a global mindset, both in terms of my experience as a student, as a child, as having worked in the work environment in different countries and different cultures. So I would define myself as a global citizen and as an individual that has a global citizen mindset. Ultimately, what I want to have, what I want to say in all of this is really, the importance of encouraging in others to keep this open mind and inquisitiveness, which can be something as as simple as reading the newspaper from different countries. So not just reading your local newspaper, but reading newspaper in English, say for example, from Australia, from Canada, from Singapore, from Malaysia, and getting different perspectives of the same thing, because that not only affects your perception and your knowledge, but that also indirectly has an effect on your identity, and again leads back to this idea of cultivating the global citizen mindset. And yes, that's really the main thing also that I would like to come out of this little chat is the point on celebrating one's uniqueness. So regardless of whether you've lived in one country or in 20 different countries, to celebrate one's distinct threads that make up an identity, that make up your identity, and using that knowledge to inspire others, and sharing that knowledge and sharing that experience with others to cultivate a global citizen mindset, I believe is the key to transformational change, not just in ourselves, but across the world. So yes, so that's really it. If you have any questions or would like to take this a little bit further, because obviously I don't want to keep you here sitting for minutes and minutes on end. It's just really a little bit of a condensed nutshell as to what I believe, what is the role of identity within the global citizen mindset discussion. But I'm more than happy if you'd like to get in touch by email or send me your thoughts. Just feel free to drop me a line at info@one-blue-dot.com. And I'd be happy to have a chat with you and sort of take this further. Having said that, thank you for listening, and I hope it's given you a little bit of food for thought. And yeah, that's it from Malta. Ciao.